Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Parthajit Sharma or Partha. Yeah, that's a guy's name. I am a workplace strategist at Advanced Workplace Associates or AWA. AWA is present across the globe today, but it was born in the UK. And as you know, it is very difficult to find people who speak English in the UK these days. So we at AWA had to get me to host this. Let's try it once again. I think that's better. Okay, now you know why Brexit happened. Like the English language, the origins of the concept of workplace transformation can be traced back to AWA, which was founded in the early 90s in the UK. AWI, or Advanced Workplace Institute, is a part of AWA and is focused on preparing corporate leaders to face challenges in new ways of working in the COVID era. I came across a video on post-COVID challenges as employees return to work. I just want to clarify that we at AWI are not really talking about these kind of challenges.
Okay, well, it's just gone 10 there now, Kevin. Will we kick off the meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me all right?
Yes?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was looking at the marketing strategy globally for the digital products of... Is everything okay?
Yeah, all good my end.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that the strategy we have at the moment is not as aggressive as it should be. I have a simple... Is there a problem, Kevin?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's just you made a face when I was talking there.
Oh, God, you can see me.
Yes.
Sorry, I normally have the camera off for these meetings.
We're in the same room.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm just getting used to being back in the office.
Okay.
Sorry I'm late. Wi-Fi issues, you know yourself.
John, you're still in your dressing gown.
Oh, sorry, I'm still getting used to not working from home.
Suit and tie, John. In the workplace. Very basic stuff. Right, we're just going to restart the meeting. So I was explaining to Kevin about the marketing strategy. Now,
There he goes again.
we should definitely be in a way... Is there something wrong, John? You said boring. As I was talking there, you said boring.
Yes, because I normally have my microphone off for these type of meetings.
Do you?
No. We are not experts in solving these kind of problems. We are not, right? I think there's no one there. Okay, let's try this once again. Okay, we are not really experts in solving these kind of problems. We are not, right?
No, God, please, no!
Yeah. Take it easy, man. It's cool. Okay. This is the first time you're doing this, and it's not every day that you get to wear something like this these days. By the way, I know lesson learned. Every once in a few days, try out your jeans or trousers, and just to make sure that they fit. Pajamas and shorts will have you believe that everything is well in the kingdom, especially around here. Now, every month at AWI, we focus on one topic, and we invite a guest over to do a very quick 5 to 6 minutes talk. This is followed by live Q&A. You can ask your questions or leave your comments via the chat box, and the speaker responds in real time. Our guest today is Philippa Hale. Philippa is a UK-based senior associate at AWA with over 25 years of experience in workplace transformation. She studied at Oxford, then did an MSc in organizational behavior, and she has consulted hundreds of companies, and there's so much to talk about her. But I was told to be accurate, to be brief, and actually to be seated. I'm walking around. I promise I'll be as brief as possible, no matter how long it takes. This is going to be quick, so do not go away. I am going to sit down now. Philippa is going to talk about key steps in upskilling managers and teams. Hi, Philippa. Over to you. Oops, I just realized that I think I need to click something here to bring Philippa in, and I think I also need my glasses, I think, yeah. Okay, once again, audience, before I bring Philippa in, do type in your questions or comments in the chat box, and do not be pressurized, to ask something really smart or write something really smart. If you don't feel like writing anything, is absolutely fine. We're just trying to make this interactive and co-create a few good things today. Say whatever comes to your mind, and watch this space at the bottom of the screen. We will be sending out some messages to you. In fact, we may even ask you some questions. So please do respond to those, and let's gamify this a little and make this interactive. We've all been holed up in our homes for a long time. And lastly, speaking of gamification, this has nothing to do with a card like this or this man. So do not run away. Over to you, Philippa.
Well, thank you so much, Partha. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to fellow managers and to share my experiences. So I was thinking, what could I give to everybody that we could start the discussion and important points that I believe make the difference when we're managing our teams remotely. And we're talking particularly about our leadership skills, and I've managed many teams myself, and I've coached many managers and many teams, and so I think there are a certain number of really important factors that make such a big difference when you're working in a hybrid way. I think the first one for me was looking at myself and realizing that you don't need to be the person who has all the answers. If you do that, in fact, you actually are disempowering your team. And so what I've had to learn to do is to let go, give teams initial guidance, give them a goal, give them a vision of what I think is the direction we're heading, and then let them experiment and try new things. So I guess if I was to summarize that is let go and get out of your team's way. Another thing which I think is really important is if you're going to get out of their way and they don't get it right first time, you don't then step back in again like the controlling parent who says, "Oh, you did it wrong, give it to me and I'll do it." That's even worse. So making sure that you keep that trust, and you take like a coaching style of managing people rather than a telling, and ask them questions. You say to them, so what happened? What what worked? What still needs work? What are your thoughts on how we can make this work next time? Or is your advice to me that we drop this and do something different? So make it safe, make it feel safe to experiment. That's really important. Getting to know your people a bit better is important as well. I think when we manage people remotely, we don't see them day to day. We don't see the little body language signals. Are they okay? Are they not okay? Do they understand? Do they not understand? There are lots of subtle physical indicators that we notice when we're together that you don't have as a manager. You don't have that access to your people, and they don't have access to you either. So when somebody maybe says something a little bit critically, or they're a little bit cross, angry with something, when we're face to face, we can repair the relationship. We can correct a perception. When we're remote, we can't. So we have to, first of all, we have to be very careful about what we do say, and very sensitive and very kind. That doesn't mean saying when things are not right, but it means doing it in a gentle and kind way, because otherwise they will take it and make assumptions, and we will do the same. If someone is abrupt or harsh with us, we take that away and we build it. We build it maybe into something which it isn't, or we exaggerate it in our own minds, and it makes it worse. So in terms of handling difficult conversations in that way, and handling our mental processes, the way our brains take something that's quite small and make it and exaggerate it, we have to be aware not to do this. And that way we keep trust. I mean, we know when we have trust, we know when we don't. And so don't be afraid to say to your colleagues, I think we need to spend a little bit of time in our team meeting, talking about, whether we are comfortable with the way we're working, whether there's something that's annoying us or frustrating us, and do we feel trusted? That's a scary question to ask a team, and it's a scary question to discuss with your manager. And culturally, I know it's difficult sometimes for people to feel that they can talk to their manager in this way. If you do it regularly, it becomes part of your team culture. And you create a culture that feels safe, and it feels okay to talk about things that are not working. And of course, you talk about things that are working as well. So I think giving them that positive feedback, it's so important. When we're really busy, we tend to only focus on fixing things that are wrong. And so the team gets constantly reminded that they're always focusing on solving problems, and that therefore there are problems. But it's so nice to, as human beings, for us to sit and just spend a few minutes discussing what's going well. What works well, if the team is a little bit uncomfortable having these conversations, and maybe you yourself are a little uncomfortable about initiating these conversations, maybe because it's a new team, or maybe because there's been some friction in the past. If you make it a structure, a process, so let's say you have a team meeting once every 2 weeks. It's very short, it's only 15 minutes, but you do a very quick check-in with the team. How are we? What one thing that is working, one thing that needs work. Those are the sort of productive, constructive, supportive conversations that we can have. I think those are the key points. Let's discuss them.
That's extremely powerful, I think, tips for managers, Philippa. I was just listening to you, and I forgot that I need to come back and put on my camera. Let me put on my camera now. That last point you mentioned, Philippa, that we need to spend more time talking about the good things. Otherwise, we're just spending our time solving problems. I mean, it makes so much sense. What we're doing right now, I think, is something in that direction. So we actually asked, okay, Philippa, I cannot see you, but I think I can hear you.
Right, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, there's a bit of an echo, Philippa, so I think you need to probably shut down one of the...
Yeah, is that better?
No, there's a bit of echo. Okay, I'll come back to you, Philippa. I think you probably need to shut down one of the browsers. I think you have two browsers on, so it's picking up sound from two browsers, or rather two tabs in the same browser, I think. For the audience, we'd like you to participate and put in your questions to Philippa. I think she's having some problem with video. Can you hear me now?
How's that, Partha?
Oh, this is excellent.
I'm so sorry. I am having technical problems. I have lost the video, and I apologize to everybody who's on the call, but I will be able to hear you, and I will be able to reply to your questions.
Okay. I think this is the reality of our times, Philippa. I think I think every day in every meetings that we have, online meetings, even internal meetings, and even within teams, I think people face this problem, don't they? And it's not only a problem of dealing with different geographies that people call in for these hybrid meetings, but even the fact that somebody's on a mobile, somebody's on a laptop, on different platforms. I mean, what practical tips can you give for managing hybrid meetings, Philippa?
Right. Well, this is a beautiful example. It's landed in the middle of a session that's the most important session of my day, probably my week, and I've got technical problems. So, as a manager, as a fellow human being, what I'm feeling now is a mass of different emotions like frustration and guilt and fury with the technology and disappointment. And so I just have to breathe. just breathe and stay focused on the people. I stay focused on you who've taken the time to come and talk to me today, and try and make sure that I give you of my best, even though we have this technology problem. So patience and self-control, I guess, is what I'm having to work on right now.
I think this is a live demonstration of what can actually happen in meetings, most of our meetings these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things actually I wanted to ask the audiences, and this is the question you see on the screen. I mean, are you a night bird, or are you a night owl, or are you an early bird? I mean, if you can see the chat box below your video, please type in your answers there. But I was actually thinking that, people are joining in from different places for this transmission today. And this is another problem that managers face every day. People choosing, even within the same city, people choosing to work at different hours. And I think this is one of the fallouts of us giving that flexibility to people within our organization. How does one bring in some sense of discipline in this kind of a scenario, Philippa?
This is one of the biggest problems that we have as managers now. I am an early bird. I can see Sibani is an early bird as well. We are therefore probably going to be at our mentally most productive and most able. And so we are quite likely to be composing emails or working on project plans or thinking about work issues very early in the morning. And we have colleagues who will be probably not awake for several hours. And that's regardless of, we've got more early birds coming through, I see. And also we've got people in other time zones who may well be working late into their own night. So we have to be practical about this, and we have to be respectful of other people's needs, because what we've seen in lockdown is people burning out because they are on call almost 24/7. And so we have to have honest and open and regular conversations with our team members. So if you send me an email at 7 o'clock in the morning and then let's imagine I've responded at 7 o'clock in the morning, but the person we copied in is a night bird or in another time zone, so they haven't responded. So do I, as a manager, start to feel a little bit of judgment towards this person? Do I chase them? Absolutely not. In our regular team meetings, those short moments where we have an honest conversation about our ways of working, we say, hey guys, how do you feel about me sending you emails at 7 o'clock in the morning my time? And so maybe this other person say, well, I didn't see it because I was taking my kids to school. So we need to decide as a team, is this okay? We need to set our rules of the game. And what we do at AWA with a lot of our clients is we encourage them to create what we call a working together agreement. And a working together agreement is not a contract. It's not about our employment. It's actually a working together conversation. And it's a conversation that we have regularly, and we review regularly, and we write down. We actually put in writing the unofficial but important rules of the game for working in our team. And they may be different from other teams. And so if there are other teams we work with regularly who've got different rules, we also need to understand those rules as well. So this means, as a manager, this means us organizing a lot more conversations, a lot more communication than maybe we had in the past. It was easy when we're all sitting in the same room. But if you think back to when we were sitting in the same room, was our communication necessarily good with every member of our team? So what we can take from the COVID experience, I think if I summarize, is we now have early birds, night owls, people in different time zones. We have to agree rules of the game. For example, we could agree core hours. We could agree when is the best time to have meetings. We can agree breaks between those meetings and make sure that we respect those. And then have conversations with each other about somebody breaking the rules.
Right.
I can see a question. Shall I respond to that, Partha, or do you
Yes,
want me to?
let me bring that up on the screen. Okay, so Uday
Yeah.
has asked the question. Yeah, go ahead. How does one balance the working rules in relation to task deadlines agreed as part of one's deliverables? Thanks, Uday.
Thanks for that question. That's a very good question. If we are having regular conversations with our team members about the workload, about the priorities, about the deadlines, is that we're likely to know most of those deadlines, if not all, but most of them, we're likely to know them in advance. And therefore we can work backwards from the deadlines and make sure that we are dedicating enough time, that we've planned enough core time. So it's not anarchy. We are planning our time still, but we are including in our thinking the fact that different people are working at different times. I mean, the biggest, when this is a biggest problem, of course, is working with people across the planet. So Australia, UK, for example, where we have only a small number of hours where we're actually online at the same time. I had another idea, actually, which I use a lot with my teams, is collaborating asynchronously, so not at the same time. So working on, for example, Google Docs or on whiteboards that we can access together where we can contribute project plans. So tools like Mural or Miro. You can use asynchronous collaboration tools. But I think most importantly, it's talking to each other. Don't forget, there's no rule book for this.
Right.
The whole planet is trying to figure this out right now. So the best thing you can do is, rather than try and find the textbook, there isn't one, talk to each other.
There's no rule book. In fact, there's no rule to the questions I'm asking also. So I asked this question that where are you joining from? And here you see, so Luz has said that he's joining from London. And Shivani is saying that she's joining from iPhone. I mean, okay, you've got an iPhone. Even I've got an iPhone, by the way. So the point is, this is the other problem that people are having. I think the fact that managers, I think you earlier mentioned that, are used to managing people sitting within the same room. So it's not only a geographical problem, the fact that different people are joining in from different devices and they're having these kind of problems that we are having. And are you seeing a lot of difficulty that managers are having, Philippa, in being able to do something which they have not been trained for ever in the last 20 years or so? They've always been trained to, kind of manage people by keeping them in the same room, right? By vision.
Yes, I think this is a huge challenge. I think it's also an opportunity. I think we, and I include myself in this, that the leadership, the world leadership community and management community that we are part of, we've been trained in certain management techniques over the years. But I have to be honest, even that training was looking out of date before COVID hit. The world was moving too fast and was too complex for us to train, to learn how to manage on a training course. And so the move to coaching and ongoing learning and development for us as managers and for our teams, I think, is essential. And I think we can teach our teams and our teams can teach us. They are the subject matter experts. They're the ones that are closest to the work. We are, if you like, the managers of the process, the enablers, the supporters of the people, the facilitators. So the role of manager is changing and the way we learn is changing. I'm just checking that I'm answering your question correctly, Partha.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And we have another question from Satish, and he's checking if his message is coming through. Yes, it is coming through from your mobile. And his question is, how do managers manage the performance of their teams when they're working remotely and don't see each other? Okay.
That's such a brilliant question. So I would throw, Satish, I would give you another question. I would say, how were you managing their performance before? Was it outcomes or was it the amount of time they were spending in the office? Or was it actually what they were producing? Because let me give you an example. We have one of our clients who does sales. for the film industry, in the film industry. So they sell films, and what they want is sponsorship. And they found they got more sponsorship during the COVID period than before, and they were working from home. Their managers couldn't see them. They couldn't see their potential clients, their potential sponsors, and yet they managed to build relationships, build rapport, and improve their performance, even though they couldn't see each other. So what the managers did was they talked on Zoom or whichever tool they were using once every couple of days. So they touched in regularly, but they managed the actual performance, so what the people actually produced. They didn't manage how much time they took to do the work or what skills they used to do. They only focused on the results. And now we had an interesting challenge from one of their managers saying, yes, but I want my people back in the office now. Because actually salespeople need to talk to each other, they need relationships, they need to bounce ideas off each other. And I said, well, is that what your teams want? And the team said, but we're performing much better remotely. And we have on Wednesday evening, we have a fun call where we just talk to each other. We have a virtual cup of coffee, and that we've got used to that and it works. So why are you forcing us to go back?
Yeah,
because we're actually performing better.
Yeah. No, I actually put that question in front of people that are you wearing shorts and pajamas right now when you join this? Honest question, and this is what we've got used to, we're used to these virtual meetings nowadays. But the reason I said it is because at AWI, and we're coming to the end of this, we do create enough opportunities for people to meet in flesh and blood, and all of us are dying to do that, right? And so that you actually have a opportunity for shopping for the right thing to wear back to those meetings. The other things that we also do is that we have things like roundtables where 3 or 4 members actually are invited to share their experience around organizational transformation, and they learn from each other. The whole idea behind AWI has been to co-create solutions, and that is the reason actually why I've been asking you these questions. And throughout the year, members get access to workshops, roundtables, leaders forums. We even have a podcast by Karen Plum, and every month we choose a topic, and then on the topic we have a variety of options. In fact, I think Philippa, you have another webinar coming up, right, on the 10th of November? So,
I do, on the 10th of November. Yes.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in that, it's going to be an extensive one. Please write to us. That's the website as well, and that's my email ID.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and we'd like to see you in some of these things. And if your life is slotted into hours these days in your calendar, I mean, congratulations. We come to the end of it. We've actually given you a half an hour extra. Go for a walk, listen to music. We put on some music here, by the way, or just do nothing. It's absolutely okay. I'd like to thank Philippa for joining us. I'm sorry to the audience for this little bit of a technical problem we had, but it's a VUCA world we live in these days, right?
Yeah. I'm very happy to offer some answers to some of the other questions that we hadn't timed for, if that's helpful. Maybe in writing we could follow up.
Absolutely. If you could just, we can see the names, so we'll write back to you. And audience, we will be back on the 17th of November with a new guest, and we promise that by that time we'll fix our camera problems. And thank you so much for joining us today, and also for participating with the Q&A. Write to us if you want to be involved in future events, or you can subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube. And bye for now. Thanks a lot, Philippa, for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you for your questions, and I hope to see you again soon. That's everybody.
Bye.